flag flying over the center field wall. Please remove your hats and join us as we honor this great country and those who protect our freedom. Special thank you to Christy Johnson of Eubank and Tyler.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Keith Whitman live from Van, Texas for tonight's matchup between the Brownsboro Bears and the Van Vandals. It's a big game in 16-4A here in East Texas. A three-way tie atop the ranks here in 4A for 16. 4A, that is. Lindale is playing Athens tonight. And Brownsboro and Van, all three of those teams have a three-way tie for first place in that district. Van coming off a loss on Tuesday. It was their first loss in district. So this is a very important game for the Vandals and the Bears as they're trying to get that top spot in 16-4A. So we're going to get things started here shortly in Van, Texas for tonight's great East Texas matchup. We'll be right back for some baseball. So leading things off, Jackson Rogers for the Bears. As he steps up, and here's the first pitch. It's almost a swing, but no go, says the umpire. So ball one. That's going to be ball two. And that's going to be fouled back. So 2-1 now the count. And 3-1. As Grady Betts finds himself behind in the count, but that one is foul tip back. So we have a full count to Jackson Rogers. And that's going to be a foul ball down the right field line. We're glad you're joining us tonight. It was a iffy situation on whether this game was going to go. It's going to be fouled back out of play to the parking lot. So Jackson stays alive. Big storms went through East Texas last night, but Van did a great job of keeping the field good today, and the weather provided a good time for that as well. So Jackson's going to make his way down to first base. And that's going to bring up Peyton Stevenson, number 7. As the Bears get their first base runner. And Stevenson steps in. Here's the pitch. That's going to be high and outside. Grady with the pitch. That's a good pitch. Just around the numbers, and it's strike 1. Grady brings it home, and the square around for the bunt goes straight back up, and they get the lead runner out as Grady Betts makes a good jump off the mound to grab that bunt. And the sacrifice does not work out like it wanted to as they catch the lead runner and keep a runner at first base. So 1 down. Jackson Epperson. And hits that high fly ball in the field. Asher Hawkins runs over and catches that one for out number 2. So 2 quick outs for the Vandals. And Cooper Shook is stepping up to the batter's box for the Bears. And that one's going to be a high fly ball out of play for strike 1. And checks the runner over at first, make sure Stevenson stays where he is. Here's the pitch by Grady, and a swing and a miss for a strike. And now Shook finds himself behind in the count, 0-2. That's going to be high. Ball 1. Here's the pitch. The runner goes, and that's going to be low for a ball. Good movement on it, but just a little bit too low, says the umpire. And that'll even the count at 2. And it's a foul tip into the glove, and out number 3. So they leave a runner stranded as the Bears go down in the top of the first with no runs. You're watching NETsn. Go ahead and like and subscribe. We'll be right back here in Van, Texas, for a great game here in East Texas. We'll be right back. You're watching NETsn. And we're back here in Van. And the Vandals are going to try to get things going here in the bottom of the first. Asher Hawkins leading things off. And Ty Vasquez on the mound for the Bears. And the first pitch is going to be low and outside for a ball. So Vasquez takes a look. Here's the windup in the pitch. And it's going to bounce in front of the home plate, excuse me. And it's going to be ball 2. So 2-0 the count to Hawkins. And a good pitch down the middle. Hawkins swings, bounces that one back for foul ball. And is 2-1 now the count. And here's the pitch. A good hit. And that's going to go to the shortstop. Throw over to first. And it's in time. Jackson Rogers fields the ball really well and gets it over for the first out. Gabriel Bockert is stepping in with one down and nobody on. He'll foul that one back, and he'll start things off with a strike. Vasquez looks in, gets the sign, and here's the pitch. A good hit. Back over to Jackson Rogers. And that is in time for out number 2. Grady, excuse me. Vasquez with the pitch. And Colton Greer. 1-0 the count. Here's the pitch from Vasquez. That one's going to go foul ball. Coach Halton tries to grab that one. Can't quite keep a hold of it. 1-1 the count. And here's the pitch. And that's going to bounce in front of the plate. And Greer finds himself 2 balls and 1 strike. And that one bounces too, almost over the back netting. As Vasquez just lost a little bit on that. And here's the pitch. And that one's going to be a little high, says the umpire. So Greer will take a stroll down to first base. And the Vandals will have their first base runner, as Landon Smith will take a stroll of his own up to the plate. And it's a beautiful night for baseball here in Van. 67 degrees here at game time. As that storm that came through yesterday made it a nice night here for baseball. So Greer leads off, and a good hit by Smith into right field. And that's going to be out number 3. As the base runner comes for naught for the Vandals. So we're through 1, no runs. Each team left a runner on base. And we're heading on to the second with no score here in Van. We'll be right back. You're watching NETsn. And we're back here in Van at the top of the second inning. Landon Hatton watches the first pitch go by for a ball, but swings at that one. So he's 1-1 in the count. Here's the pitch. And he wanted to swing with that one, but a little outside. And another good pitch, but according to the umpire, a little high. So 3-1 the count. Here's the pitch and a high fly ball. That's going to be over the shortstop way. Oh, center fielder, comes in as Landon Smith makes the first out for the Vandals. And here's the pitch. And Bryce Hudler is 1-1 in the count. And he'll hit that one, but it's out of play. And 1-2 now the count. And here's the pitch. And that's going to be down low for a ball. So the count even at 2. And that one is going to be out into right field. Underneath that one for out number 2. Hudson Childers stepping up to the plate for the Bears. Nothing going so far in this inning. And that one's fouled back out of play. And a good movement on that pitch as it dropped off the table, but a little bit too soon. So it's going to be a ball. 1-1. And that one's going to be in right behind in left center field as it gets in behind the shortstop. And a base hit. Puts Childers on the bag. And Aiden Green will step up to the plate. So Grady Betts looks in, waiting on the batter to step up, and Green watches the first one go by for a ball. Here's the pitch. And that one's going to be hit. And that one drops into shallow center field. And another base hit. Puts another base runner on. And with 2 on and 2 away, Lincoln Burton will step in. And that one hit back toward the dugout. 0-1 now the count. Here's a pitch. That's a foul back. Now Burton finds himself behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. And good movement a little early. Try to get him to chase. And it's going to be 1-2. And Grady steps off the mound, making sure the runners get back where they're supposed to be. And we have time at the plate. Here's the pitch, and the runner goes. Oh, and doesn't matter because that's strike 3 and out number 3. So we're through 1.5. No scores as the Bears leave 2 on, and we're heading to the bottom of the second. You're watching NETsn. We'll be right back.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health.
And we're in the bottom of the second. Easton Hinch is leading things off for the Vandals. Still no score. Vasquez with the first pitch as it's going to go low for ball 1. And a good cut. But just on top of it, and it's going to be 1-1 now the count. Vasquez with the pitch. A good hit right back up the middle. That's going to go into center field for a base hit, and the Vandals have a runner early in the bottom of the second. And the next up is number 33, Andrew Flotter.
Hey, how about a 40 here? Let's go.
Both teams not afraid to swing the bat here tonight. And that one just a bit high. A little above the numbers, says the umpire. So it's going to be 1-0 the count. Vasquez checks over. Brings the pitch, and it's going to be on the outside corner for strike 1. And that one way outside. Flotter took the bat off his shoulders, but left it there. Squares to bunt, but pulls it back and hits a line drive down the left field line. And that one is going to get into the corner. And the runner's being stopped at third as Hinch is going to stay where he is at third, and Flotter is going to have a stand-up double. And so the Vandals have 2 in scoring position here in the bottom of the second for Ross Hendricks to step in. And we'll see how the Bears respond as Vasquez from the stretch brings a pitch, and that's going to be outside for a ball. Vasquez brings it, and that's going to be a good hit, but it's going to go off the lights. Almost had a natural moment there. And that's going to be 1-1. And good pitch by Vasquez, but it's going to be a ball. So 2-1 the count. And that one is going to be out into right center field. The right fielder heads over with the catch, and the runner is going to tag as Hinch is all the way in, and the Vandals are first on the board, and they take the lead 1-0. Flotter stays at second, doesn't tag, and the sacrifice fly works to perfection. Here's the pitch, and that's going to go over to third. Checks the runner at second. And Wyatt Dale's thrown out. At first for out number 2. So Vasquez looks in with a runner at second. 1 run already in and 2 down. And that's going to be a pop-up. And it's going to drop in as Caleb Redding gets in there with a base hit as Flotter advances to third. And runners at the corners now for the Vandals. And we're back at the top of the lineup. Asher Hawkins now steps in. Here's the pitch. And that's back up to the middle. And it's a error as Landon Hatton couldn't hold on to it. And another run scores off an E4. And still runners at the corners for Gabriel Backer. And that one's in there for a strike. So 2 on, 2 out, and 0-1 the count to Gabriel. Vasquez takes a look. Brings it in. It's going to be fouled back. Here's the pitch. That's going to be low and outside, and the runner goes. And they catch the runner, and he's safe. Woo! As Redding almost caught sleeping at third base, but he gets back just in time. And 1-2 now the count. And that one's going to go as Rogers and no play at first there. And another run comes in, and still runners at the corners for the Vandals. So everybody just keeps trading places here. Run comes in, runners stay at corners. And Colton Greer steps up with 2 on and 2 out. And a good pitch by Vasquez. 0-1 the count. And that one's in there for a strike, 0-2. As Greer finds himself behind in the count. And a good reach out, but that one runs foul.
You got it, Greer?
Here's the pitch. And that one's going to drop into right center field for a base hit. And once again, a run comes home and runners at the corners.
Keep it going, Landon.
Landon Smith getting the call from third base coach. And he steps in, ready for his shot. And he takes that one. And that's a fair ball, says the umpire, but no play as Aiden Green made a choice there, checking the runner at third. And a late call, says the coach Cannot from Brownsboro, as he comes out to have a conversation. And they're going to have a little talk. And while we're sitting, go ahead and like and subscribe. You're watching NETsn. And chat with us a little bit. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know where you're watching from. We usually like to play a game, see how far out the furthest person is that's watching. So I think we've had Delaware as the farthest place. Family members watch from all different places, so it's kind of nice to know. So we have an appeal going on as the umpires are going to get together and have a conversation. Not quite sure what they're going to talk about. I'm guessing they're talking about whether it was fair or not. And the call's going to stand. So the base is loaded. So we're going to take a little break right here because we're having a conversation. So we'll be right back. So the bases got loaded on that. So some temper flaring seems to be going on here. And the umpire seems to be the one that's flaring. Not liking the jawing coming from both sides, and basically gave a warning to both sides, both fan bases. And it's early in the game, so it's going to be interesting how the rest of this game pans out, especially with the implications of this game with both teams atop the 16-4A bracket here. 0-1 now the count. And 1-1. And that one was called a strike. And a swing and a miss for strike 3.
Hey, good inning.
So that's the final out of the inning. However, the damage was done. 4 runs come across for the Vandals. And we're through 2 here in Van. Hey, you're watching NETsn. Go ahead and like and subscribe. We got a good one here, folks. Don't go anywhere. In fact, call your friends. Tell them to log in and watch what we got. We'll be right back. You're watching NETsn live from Van, Texas. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. And we are back. 2-0 the count. And that one's going to be a high fly ball. And Flotter is going to dodge flying bat and still make the catch for out number 1. And we got a little time going on, and I have to tend to agree.
Good job, Drew.
As a bat was flung in the direction of the player who was trying to make the play. But nonetheless, the out was made as Flotter stood in there, and made the catch. So 1 away here in the top of the 3rd. Paxton Stevenson with the hit in the outfield.
Good job, Gabe. Let's go.
And we have out number 2. So 2 quick outs. And Jackson Epperson now for the Bears steps in. And he hits a good one, but it's going to go foul. And here's the pitch. It's going to be foul tip back. And now Epson finds himself behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. And he reaches out and misses it and strikes out. So 3 up, 3 down, and we are through 2.5 here in Van. We'll be right back. You're watching NETsn.
I'm not running into a hole in the wall.
I'm like, all week, like, I need you to take me to school all week. And I was like, okay. It's fine with me, but it has to be okay with him, too. Okay.
And we're back as Andrew Flotter will step into the batter's box and see what he can do. And the Vandals hoping they can mimic what they did in the bottom of the second. But Ty Vasquez is going to try to stop that. And that's going to be fouled out of play for strike one.
Go, Drew.
And that's in there for a strike. So 0-2 the count. Vasquez from the windup, and here's the pitch. That's going to be outside for a ball. Thought he could make him go fishing, but Flotter stood in there. And that one's going to be straight up. And Rogers gets over to Hudler, who stumbled, but he luckily stumbled back onto the bag, which if you're going to stumble, that's where you want to go. So one away. And Ross Hendricks is stepping in as he'll watch the first one go by for a strike.
Go, Ross.
Here's the pitch. And a good hit, but straight to Aiden Green. And a heck of a hit, but also a heck of a play by Green as he snagged out number 2. Wyatt Dale stepping up. And a good pitch in there for a strike. And he's swinging and a miss on that one. So quickly, Dale finds himself behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. And that's going to be a hit. Fly ball into center field. And that one's snagged by Stevenson for out number 3. So a quick third inning. 6 batters up, 6 batters down, and we're on to the 4th. Go ahead and like and subscribe. You're watching NETsn. Great baseball here. 4-0 as the Vandals lead. But this game is far from over, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So we're at the top of the 4th here in Van. As the Vandals lead 4-0, Cooper Shook is going to step in. And the Bears are going to try to get something started here. And with that one, it's going to be low and inside for a ball. The Bears coming off a win on Tuesday. That's going to be back. And they had a win last Saturday also against the Brook Hill Guard. They actually came back and won that one in the final inning. They were down 6-1 and came back and won that one 7-6. That's a swing and a miss for strike two. And then a 10-1 victory on Tuesday against the Vandals. Put them in a three-way tie with Lindale in 16-4A. So a big game here. That one's back. Hopefully not hitting my truck over there in the parking lot. So 1-2 the count. And that's a half swing, but it goes straight back up to Grady. And Grady shoots over as Flotter is there for the catch and out number one. So one down. And Landon Hatton will step up with nobody on and one out. And a swing and foul back for a strike. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be a little bit around the neck for a ball. So 1-1 now the count. And that one's high as well, so 2-1. And that's a swing and a miss for strike two. So the count runs even at 2. As Hatton flew out, last at bat. And he strikes out this at bat. So 2 down for the Bears. Bryce Hudler now stepping in. Left-hander going to see what he can do. And watches that one break across the plate for a strike. And he swings at that one. Same pitch. Good location. Just drops it right over. And Hudler now 1-2. A little high on the outside. And here's the pitch. And kind of a check swing, but high and outside again. And 2-2 is the count. So Hudler fell 0-2 quick, and now back to full count, swings and strikes out and ends the top of the fourth. So through 3.5, the Vandals up 4-0, and they'll be coming back to the plate shortly. We'll be right back. You're watching NETsn. We'll be right back. We are back here in Van as the Vandals lead the Bears 4-0. And as I mentioned earlier, with a three-way tie in the top of the 16-4A bracket here, with these two teams and the Lindale Eagles, in the top of the fourth in Athens, Lindale leads 7-1. So I'll keep everybody updated on that score. Two balls and no strike is the count. And that one's going to be a hit by pitch as Calum Redding will take a stroll over to first. And back again at the top of the lineup is Asher Hawkins will make his way into the batter's box. So a runner on first. Hawkins waits. He squares up, hits that one. And the sacrifice bunt works to perfection, moves the runner over to second, into scoring position. And Gabriel Buckert is going to step in with one out and one in scoring position at second.
Okay.
And that's going to be a swing and a miss for a strike.
Go ahead, Gabe.
Another swing. And a good solid hit. But Rogers can't hold on to it, as we once again have runners at the corners. And Colton Greer now steps up with 2 on and 1 out. A little movement on that one, but it's going to be low. And ball 1. Good crowd here in Van for both sides. Once again, it is a big game. Runner goes, but no throw, as the threat from Hawkins to come home was too much. And outside, so 3-0 the count. And that one's going to hit outside, and we're going to have the bases now loaded after that walk. And number 12, Landon Smith, is going to step in.
Go, Lando.
Vasquez looks on with the throw, and that pitch is in there for a strike. So with bases loaded and 1 out. And Smith, see what he's done. I imagine a sacrifice fly, which is what he just swung for on the fences there. In there for a strike. I don't see small ball being played here. They're going to try to bring as many home as they can, as much as they can. Vasquez puts that one on the outside. Wanted Smith to chase, but he wasn't going to do it that time. So 1-2 the count. And the umpire says he went around on that one and strike out for out number 2. So Easton Hinch will step in with bases loaded and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. And the pitch is going to be outside. A little movement on that. For ball 1. Vasquez has some good pitches. Like that one, right down the middle. And 1-1 now the count.
Let's go, E.
And Vasquez focused right on the plate there. Not worried about the base runners right now, and makes it 1 ball and 2 strikes. So a big pitch here. And foul back to stay alive. And the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hinch steps in. Vasquez gets what he wants. And from the stretch brings it in. Hit up the middle. Jackson Rogers with it. He'll step on second for the force. And the bases loaded brings nothing for the Vandals. And they'll leave all of those runners on the bases. So the score remains 4-0 through 4 here in Van. We'll be right back. Go ahead and like and subscribe. You're watching NETsn. We'll be right back.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
Hudson Childers will start things off here. And that one's going to be outside for a ball. And foul back. So 1-1 now the count. It is 4-0. Van leads here in the top of the 5th.
Good pitch. Go ahead, G.
And 1-2 now the count. So the count goes even at 2. Here's the pitch. It's going to be high. And now it's a full count. As Bates with the pitch and foul back, and he'll stay alive. And a high foul ball out of play. So the count remains full. And Hudson Childers just not wanting to go anywhere as he stays there, 3-2 the count. And that one also foul. So we got a battle brewing here at the plate. And Childers steps in as Grady throws a high ball there, and Childers will make his way to first base. That'll put Aiden Green up next for the Bears with a runner on first and nobody out. Here's the pitch. And that one's going to go straight to the second baseman.
Good job, E.
As Easton Hinch is right there to make the catch for out number one. Lincoln Burton is now in. He swings at the first pitch and gets the first strike. So 0-1 the count. And the runner goes, and here's the throw, and it's going to be not in time, as I believe the pitch was going to go wild. And we have time. So 1-1 is the count. And we're going to have time on the field. And we're going to take a 10-second break real quick. We'll be right back. So I'm thinking something got in his eye. He kind of slid in and may have gotten a little dirt in his eye. So they got that taken care of. Score out of Athens has changed at the bottom of the fourth, and the Lindale Eagles lead 8-1 over the Hornets right now. But the score here is 4-0 here in the top of the fifth. Here's the pitch, and outside, says the umpire. So 2-1 the count. Bates with the pitch. It's going to be high. Good stop by Dale as he keeps the runner on second. I think I hurt myself watching him jump. And a good pitch in there for a strike, as Burton thought that was a ball. And it'll be a full count. So the runner goes halfway, and that's going to be a ball four, and Burton will make his way to first base. And we have runners at first and second for Jackson Rogers. And we're back at the top of the lineup. So Bates looks in with runners at first and second and one out. And here's the pitch. And that's going to be a fly ball into center field. As Landon Smith makes the catch. And the runner tags at second and makes his way. And we have runners at the corners with 2 outs. So the sacrifice fly works and puts a runner in scoring position, a little closer to home. And we have time as we might be getting a little pitching change here. Either that or just a little conversation. And I think it was just a conversation. Actually, I think Halton went out there to try to appeal the tag, making sure that the runner did tag at second. Good pitch by Bates, as that's in there for strike 1. Yeah, that's going to be high around the eyes for ball 1, excuse me. 1-1 now the count. And it's going to be out of play. So 1-2 the count. And a good hit over to third base. And shoots it over as Hawkins shoots it over to Easton Hinch. And no runs come in for that as 2 stranded by the Bears. So the score after 4.5, still 4-0. Van leads. We'll be right back here in Van, Texas for a great game. You're watching NETsn. Andrew Flotter will start things off in the bottom of the 5th as the Vandals still lead of 4-0. Ty Vasquez still on the mound for the Bears, and that pitch will be low for ball 1. Got around a little bit too early on that one, as that one goes on to the houses across the street for strike, and that'll be 1-1. Got a hold of that one though, but Rogers gets it, throws it over to first, and out number 1. Ross Hendricks is next in line for the Vandals. He watches that one go by, low and outside for ball one. Here's the pitch. And a good little movement on it, but it's going to be high. Didn't quite move like he thought it was going to. Didn't drop, so it's going to be 2 balls and no strikes. And a good hit down the left field line, and that one is fair ball. And a stand-up double for Hendricks. And the Vandals have a runner in scoring position. Wyatt Dale is going to step in with runner on second and 1 away. A little low. Ball one. That one's going to bounce in front. Ball two. Vasquez checks the runner at second. From the stretch, brings it home, and in there for a strike. Catches that outside corner. And 2-1 the count. And that one's straight up the middle, and that one's going to get into the outfield. And it's a throw home as 2 runs come. And it is an RBI. Excuse me, 1 run comes in. Apologize. And that's an RBI double for Dale. And Caleb Redding is going to come in. And the score goes to 5-0. Here in the bottom of the 5th. And a solid hit in the left center field. But Stevenson is there to make the catch for out number 2. That one just hung just a little bit too long in the air. And back to the top of the order again, Asher Hawkins. And we're going to have a courtesy runner come in. Looks like Austin Johnson is going to be a courtesy runner over there on second. Vasquez checks the runner at second, brings the pitch home. And 1-1 now the count.
Let's go, Ash.
And here's the pitch. It's going to be a hit in the right field. But Cooper Shook is there for out number 3. But 1 run does come across, and the Vandals expand their lead to 5. We'll be right back. You're watching NETsn. Welcome back, everybody. We're in Van, Texas. And don't let the score fool you. We got a good game going on here in District 16 4A as both these teams are fighting in a three-way tie here in Van. As these two teams are on top, and Lindale over in Athens, playing Athens tonight. They're on top as well. And a swing and a miss will be a strike to lead things off here in the top of the 6th. And that's going to be a little early for a good hit out into left foul territory. And Caleb Redding is going to chase that down and get the out in foul territory. So a good job. Cooper Shook, the right fielder, got the last out in the top of the inning. Steps into the batter's box, and here's the pitch. That's going to bounce in front and go for a ball. And it's going to go high. And 2-0 now the count. And a good hit. That's going to be in left field. And Redding is there. And he makes the diving catch for out number 2. And if I had a way to do an ESPN sound, that would be a time to do it. So just imagine that it's being played right now because a good play by Caleb Redding out in left field for out number 2. Landon Hatton takes the first pitch for a ball. And Grady Bates puts that in there quickly for a strike. And here's the pitch. And that's going to be high around the eyes for a ball. So 2-1 the count. That's fouled back for a ball. For a strike. Foul ball. And 2-2 now the count. Bates with the windup. And the pitch is foul tip back and caught by Wyatt Dale. So 3 up, 3 down, go the Bears. And we're through 5.5. We'll be right back for the bottom of the 6th. Don't go anywhere. We're watching NETsn. I know we have awesome people watching because y'all were singing along with that, I'm sure, at home. So we're in the bottom of the 6th as the Vandals lead 5-0. Gabriel Bockert is stepping up. This is a very fast-paced game so far. That pitch is in there for a strike. And here's the pitch. Another one in there for a strike. Two good pitches by Vasquez, as they seem to be dropping off the table and going right over the plate. And puts that one. And Rogers with it over to first. And pulls the first baseman off the bag as Hudler couldn't get it. So there's a runner on first. Nobody out. Colton Greer steps in. And that one going to be outside. Bockert. And a throw over, not in time. And the runner goes, and the throw is not in time. It's passed into the outfield, but the runner's going to stay. So Bockert makes it to second on the steal. And the Vandals have a runner in scoring position as Greer has a 1-0 count. So Vasquez sets up, checks the runner at second, and brings the pitch. That's going to be bounced in for a ball. So 3 balls and a strike to Greer. And that one's in there for a strike. So it's a full count. And a good hit. And that's going to bounce in front of Rogers. And it's in time. Over to Hudler for the out. But a runner advances. Over to third, and that's going to put one runner closer. And Landon Smith is going to head into the batter's box. Vasquez brings the pitch, and that one's going to go into the right field. And a run comes in, and an RBI base hit is in there by Landon Smith. So the Vandals' lead swells to 6. Easton Hinch now steps in. And we have time on the field as Coach Kennott walks out to the mound to have a conversation, and looks like we're going to have a pitching change. And Ty Vasquez has pitched a very good game, despite what the score says. So we have to give that young man a good job, as he is done for the day. And we'll be right back as the Bears are making their pitching change. You're watching NETsn. Today's game is brought to you by Azalea Orthopedics.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
So we got the pitching change going on. Cooper Shook is going to be the new pitcher for the Bears. Giving you a score update from Athens. The Lindale Eagles lead 8-2 in the bottom of the fifth. And like I said earlier, this game is going by pretty quick. And so upon the completion of this game, you can go over. We're simulcasting on NETsn on our YouTube page as you're watching this game now. But you can go over when this game is over, and you can watch the completion of the ARP Troop baseball game. And if you know anything about rivalries, that is a big one. But stick with us here, and the completion of this one, you can head on over to that one. Right now, Troop leads 3-0. But here in this game, in the bottom of the sixth, Van leads 6-0. But if you know anything about baseball, and you know anything about the Bears over the last week or so, this game is far from over. So don't let it fool you. The Bears came back from a 6-1 deficit last Saturday in the seventh inning and won 7-6. So this is not over yet. So Shook steps in with a runner on first. And the pitch. That's going to be a fly ball, fouled backwards. And Easton Hinch is one strike down. So Shook looks over to first from the stretch. And he brings it home. And that's going to be high. Got a little zip on that ball. And 1-1 the count. And that's going to be inside for a ball, 2-1 the count.
Let's go, E.
Outside for a ball. So Hinch finds himself ahead in the count, 3 balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. And outside, ball 4, and now 2 runners on first, 1 on second, and it'll bring up number 33, Andrew Flotter, with a runner on first, runner on second, and 1 out. We'll see what happens. So something's going on over on the Van side. I don't think it was the players. That one's going to be a ball. 2-0 the count. Shook. Oh, that's going to be, got away from him a little bit. And a hit by pitch loads the bases. And the catcher's going to call a timeout and head out and talk, have a conversation. And we'll take a short break. So the conversation's over as the catcher was trying to have a little conversation, settle down his pitcher. Ross Hendricks is stepping in. And we have a time as the umpire once again has a issue with something that's going on. And I'm not sure what. So the umpire has had issues the entire game with something, not really sure what's going on. He doesn't like anything apparently that's going on with what the dugout was doing. So anyway, here we go. It's time to play baseball. And a pass ball, and a runner's going to come in as a run comes home. And the lead swells to 7.
Come on, Coop, you got this.
So with runners on second and third, 1-0 the count. I believe. I think we're waiting to see what the umpire was going to call that last pitch. And that's in there for a strike. And that one's in there for a strike. So 1-2 the count. And Shook, ready to go. And here's the pitch. That's going to bounce in. It's going to go past again. And the run's going to come in again. As that one bounced in front of home plate. And allowed Easton Hinch, excuse me, to come home. And that one expands the lead to 8. And a runner on third, and that's going to be high. So now it's 3-2. And that one's going to bounce over, but a good stop by the catcher. And that's going to put runners at the corners. So we have a time on the field as Coach Connaught comes out. And he's just going to have a conversation with Cooper Shook. Make sure that he calms down a little bit. So, updated score out of Athens. Athens got one more run in, so it's 8-3 now. In the top of the 6th. They're creeping up, but I think they may run out of time. Like my daddy always said, I didn't lose, I just ran out of time. So the powwow is over. Runners at the corners. And here comes the pitch. Inside for a ball. And Wyatt Dale watches that one go by. Here's the pitch by Shook, and that's going to bounce inside low for ball 2. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there straight down the pipe for strike 1. And the runner goes, and a hit. And that one's going to go to Landon Hatton over to Bryce Hudler, but another run does come in. And that'll be 2 outs as Calum Redding steps in. And now the lead swells to 9. So potentially the winning run stands on second. If they do get that run in before the 3rd out, the game will be over, the 10-run rule. But we're not going to count that chicken yet. That one's in there for strikes, so it's going to be 1-1.
Set him down. Yes, sir.
And that one's in there for a strike. So 1-2 the count now to Calum Redding. And here's the pitch. And that's going to be fouled back. Out of play.
You got this, Caleb. Let's go forward, turn over, celebrate.
Come on, Coop. He's chasing you.
And Shook checks the runner at second. And here's the pitch. And that one's going to be a ball.
Are you serious? Horrible.
So 2-2 the count. And I'm not real sure what was missed on that one. But he must have seen something we didn't. So 2-2 now the count. And that's going to be high. And now it's a full count. So a runner on second, 2 outs, and a full count. So a big pitch here. And a swing and a miss as Cooper Shook does a great job. But 4 runs do come in to extend the Vandals' lead to 9. So we'll be right back as we are through 6. So we're here in the top of the 7th here in Van. The Vandals lead 9-0. And that one's going to be in there for a strike and Bryce Hudler will watch it. That one's going to be high. So the Bears potentially down to their final 3 outs, but I will tell you the Bears are not a slouch team. They're a very good baseball team, and they do have the ability to put runs on the board. That one's in there for a strike. So needless to say, the game is not over until it's over. So I'm not going to make any call on that. That one's going to be in there for a strike.
You're trash!
And the umpire just threw out a player in high school ball. I don't think I've ever seen that. But Bryce Hudler did not like the call that was made, and he immediately threw the umpire immediately threw Bryce Hudler out of the ball game. And now we're having a conversation between the coach and the umpire. So with that strikeout, it's going to be 1 down. So a lot of frustration here on the Brownsboro side. And we're going to take a 10-second break. We'll be right back. And the conversation between the coach and the umpire is still going on. And now we're back to baseball. And here's the pitch. That's going to be outside for a ball. And that's ball 2. And that's going to be fouled back for a strike. So 2-1 the count. Aiden Green on deck for the Bears. And a good hit into right center field. And that's going to drop. And Backert is there. But a base hit is in there. And the Bears have a runner on first. So Green steps in. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be fouled back for strike 1. And that's going to be a pop fly. And Gabe Backert calls off the second baseman, Hinch, for the out. So 2 down, and the Bears potentially down to their final out of the game. And Lincoln Burton is going to step in with a runner on first. That one's in there for a strike. And that one's going to hit straight over to Flaughter. And that's the ball game as the Vandals split the series between the Brownsboro Bears. Brownsboro won the first one, and the Vandals win this one 9-0 in a quick game. A lot of frustration on the Brownsboro side, but a good game on both sides. So it's going to be an interesting week next week as the Lindale and Van will finish out the regular season against each other. As Lindale, it looks like they're going to beat Athens tonight. So those two teams are going to be at the top of the heap of the 16-4A mountain here. And so it's up for grabs on who's going to win District 16-4A. And NETsn is going to be there next week for both of those games between Van and Lindale. So we'll be back here in Van on Tuesday for the first of the two. And then next Friday, we'll be in Lindale for the final game of the season, the regular season. And then we'll have playoff baseball after that. But that ends it for today. And do me a favor, when we close out here, go ahead and go over and to our stream, our simulcast of the ARP Troop baseball game that's going on right now. And don't miss a minute of that. That's a great rivalry there. And so that's going on. We're done here from Van, Texas. I'm Keith Whitman. Y'all have a good night and a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there.